Well, can you believe it? It is March already. I'm not trying to stress you out, but man, does time go by quick. Today, as we spend this moment together, what I would love for us to do is to slow down and to reflect on a specific passage of Scripture. You see, James is writing to an early church. He's writing to the church in its beginning formation. And as he is writing to these people that are following Jesus, what we see in this letter is a warning. We see warning of the things in this world that are going to draw us away from the Lord. But within this warning, we also see an invitation. And in that invitation is where I want us to sit today. So I'm going to read this to you, and then we're going to sit with this question and hopefully meet with the Lord in this moment. So this is James chapter 4, verses 8. He says, "Draw near to God, and He will draw near to you." Draw near to God, and He will draw near to you. One of the important questions that I think Scripture asks us is, who or what are we orientating ourselves towards? I think sometimes we can intentionally put ourselves in places to consume something, to feel good, to feel important, to feel safe, to feel secure, whatever it may be. We can sometimes intentionally try to do things to feel a certain way or to establish a certain level of security or significance in our life. Those things can actually, although they can be good, they can also, unfortunately, draw us away from the Lord, for each of those things will demand something of us. It's almost like if you want a certain lifestyle, let's say you want to have, traveling, and you want to have the latest and greatest technology and you want your kids to have the best kind of education. All of those different things that are not necessarily evil or wrong all demand a certain level of sacrifice in order to get. And I'm not saying that we shouldn't make those sacrifices, but we absolutely, I believe, need to be aware of the sacrifices of the things that we are drawing ourselves towards, are asking of us. And then as we ask ourselves, what are the sacrifices? We need to discern, are these sacrifices that we're willing to make? What is it that we are valuing? What is it that we are putting ourselves in towards? So the question that Scripture will ask us is, who or what are we orientating ourselves towards? And yet, at the same time, the Scriptures will make a statement over and over and over. And I don't have the perfect way of saying it, so forgive me, but the statement is something like this: God's attention, affection, heart is towards humanity. So although the Scriptures will ask, who or what are we orientating ourselves towards, the Scriptures will simultaneously tell us that God, the creator of all things, Father, Son, and Spirit, their attention, their affection is actually towards us. As we draw near to God, we discover that He has drawn near to us. So the question that I want us to sit with today first is, who or what are we drawing close to? Maybe it's the responsibilities of our job, of the relationships that we have, of the goals that we have set. What are the demands? What are the sacrifices that we are having to make as we draw towards those things? And are those sacrifices that we're making hindering us from drawing to the Lord today? Another question that I think may be important for us to ask is, how is God drawing near to us in this moment? This might seem like an abstract question, but what's so beautiful about the Lord is that although He will invite us, and in His invitation comes the opportunity, the demand, the command to let go of some of these things that we are holding on to so tightly, the things that we're holding on to are actually the things that are keeping us a slave. They're keeping us oppressed. They're keeping us away from his love, from his kindness, from his beauty, from his presence. And so although there is a cost to the invitation of Christ, that cost also comes with the reward of experiencing his love, his kindness, his beauty. And so I would love for us to sit and to ask the Lord, how are you drawing near to me today? In the relationships that I have, in the responsibilities that I'm carrying, how am I seeing you in these moments? You know, the Bible is a book that is so crucial for many reasons. And one of the reasons that it's so crucial is that it's a book that tells us this is legitimate encounters with God. This is what this looks like. And so as we are discerning how is God meeting us today, I think for some of us, we might be like, well, how do I know it's God and not just my feelings of something good? Or how do I know that this isn't just what I'm looking for and it's not, how do I know this is real? How do I know that this is real? And I think this is where the scriptures become so important. Scriptures and the community that we are a part of. For scriptures declare that these are real encounters with God. And so the scriptures become our way of both understanding what is it, who is God and who are we and how do we have relationship with him, but also how do we know that our experiences of God are legitimate? They help us discern. And so that if there's some experiences that we're having that maybe don't line up with what the teachings or the ways of scripture have shown us, that we can know, okay, maybe that's not God. Maybe that's something else and I need to let that go. While at the same time, as we experience God's love and his kindness and his beauty and his mercy and his forgiveness and his grace, we can look to the scriptures and see that that is consistent with his character throughout whoever and wherever he's dealing with. You see, the Bible becomes the source of life for us. So how do we draw near to the Lord? I think one of the main ways that we can draw near to God is by being in his scriptures, by consuming his word, by eating it, as Eugene Peterson would talk about. But I also believe that scriptures is revealing to us experiences and encounters with God. And so the other way in which we can draw close to him is through discerning, through keeping our eyes open and our ears available to listen and to see the ways in which God is meeting us today. You know, the Lord is already speaking. The Lord is already moving in your life. The question is, are you paying attention? Are you actively being aware? I want to finish with this story. It's a really wise man who talked about bird watching. I love bird watching. My friend and I in Niagara, we go looking for owls. And this guy talked about how when you're going to look for birds, you have to show up in these environments. You have to actually go to the forest, so to speak. But once you are there, so you have to do the work to get there. But once you are there, then you need to actually be silent. You need to be still. You need to slow down, and then you need to observe. So there's this stillness, there's this release that we have, and yet at the same time, there's a demand for attention, for observation, to be able to slow down, to be able to see the owl, to see the bird, to see the way in which the Lord is meeting us. And so I'll finish with saying, for many of us, our lives are so busy and so quick that it can be hard to slow down. And so what I want to encourage you to do is, as you face different transitions of your day, maybe it's walking your dog or taking your child to school or doing the commute to work, wherever there's a transition in your day, instead of filling that time with music or a podcast or noise, slow down and ask the Lord, how are you drawing near me today? And how can I draw near to you? Thank you.